Hey YouTube, it's Sean, Griffin RC Planes. Real quick one here, the E-Flite Night Timber X. When I first got it, I wanted to be cool and I wanted to do the advanced transmitter setup where you could have 4 ailerons. So in order to do that, you remove the Y harness that had both flap servos were in a Y harness and plugged into channel 6 in the 6-channel receiver. Remove the Y harness and then you plug the flaps into channel 5 and 6, and then you created this mix that you could have on a switch where you could go from ailerons on the outside and flaps on the inside, and once you flip this switch, then you had both the flap and the aileron act as a aileron. So big control surfaces, right? So I did that mix, and when you do that mix, now you don't have safe select to be turned off and on channel 5. So I happen to have a 9-channel transmitter, and I changed it where I think channel 8 was activating safe select on and off. But ever since I did that mix, somewhere I made a mistake, or this is just how it is, when I would use the flaps, the plane would not self-level anymore. So somewhere doing the mix and using channel 5 in the receiver to operate the left flap, even though I was using like channel 8 to turn safe on and off, somewhere safe got canceled out when I was using the flaps. I never used the mix of the 4 ailerons anyways. So I'm going to put it back how it came factory with a Y harness back for the flaps. And then, as much as I love this plane now, it's kind of a bummer to have to put the battery in and then set it down on its wheels immediately to get the receiver to initialize and bind and all that stuff. One cool thing about the Apprentice is there's a switch. So you put your battery in on the bottom on the Apprentice, and then you would turn the Apprentice over and you would turn the switch on. So I just happen to have one of these plastic Apprentice switch holders and another switch out of an Apprentice. So when the wing is off, I'm going to see how hard it might be to put this switch in there. So the first thing we need to do is just take the wing off real quick and get it flipped around, and then I'll show you guys inside what we got going on with the receiver. How we're going to take the flaps out of channel 5 and 6. We're going to put them in a Y harness and plug them back into channel 6. And then I need to cancel that crazy mix out of the transmitter. And then I need to go back to having safe select on channel 5. And we'll see if that corrects the issue with the down elevator mix while you're in safe select. You know, even though safe select should hold the plane level, as soon as I turned on the flaps, this thing just shot up to the moon. And I've increased the down elevator mix like quadruple what the book called for, and it didn't help at all. It was almost like safe select was working backwards when you activated the flaps. All right, so the flaps are in channel 5 and channel 6 now. Before, one of the light modules just to power the blinking lights, I believe, was plugged into channel 5. Now it's plugged into the bind port, and I'm going to leave it there. So we're going to take that out, and we're going to get both flaps into this Y harness here. Made sure they're a good snug fit, and I felt them plug in. And I'm going to leave the lights plugged into the bind, because that light controller that was plugged into 5, I have it right down here, and I got it velcroed in there, and the wire going into the bind port is only like an inch or 2 long, so I would have to relocate that if I want to put it back into 5, and it's not hurting anything where it's at, so I'm just going to leave it there. Now the flaps are going to go back into channel 6, and we'll have to redo the transmitter. I'm thinking about just deleting the model out of my transmitter and then just adding a new one. That way I don't have, if I'll be erasing what I programmed in there, and just in case I screwed up or whatever, if I just delete that model and start over. It's not very hard to do nowadays. All right, so it's plugged into channel 6, and nothing's in channel 5. I talked about putting the switch in the apprentice, this plastic switch box, or whatever you want to call it. It is like that. Let me get this thing straightened back up. It is, there's a little piece cut out right there, and it goes in there like that. However, just crossed my mind that this has the smart telemetry data coming from the speed control going into the receiver. And yes, I have proven that you can read the telemetry data through the switch if you want to put one of these switches in. But I've only proved that here on the bench in my test demo plane. So I don't think that I'm going to cut a notch in the plane and then glue this in and all that stuff until I have that theory tested longer, because I don't believe there's any switches in any planes that have the avian smart speed control going into an AR637 TA receiver. I know the apprentices have the smart speed control going through this plugged into the flight controller. I'm sure it would be okay, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Well, maybe we'll do it another time, but that's an idea. You would have to cut a hole, a square at least deep enough for this switch to go into, plus the wires that are soldered. So you'd have to cut out a good little bit. Yeah, we'll do it another time. As of right now, I'll just put the wing back on, and then we'll grab the transmitter. And we'll make sure that we either delete the model and add a new one, or whatever I decide to do between now and the next 10 minutes, that we do all that right now, so that when we want to go fly this thing next, we don't have to worry about it, and we know it's ready to go. Tell you what, I'm going to have to press the bind button. So I'm going to leave this off and get a battery so we can, I'm going to delete the model and then do it to another one. All right, I created a new model. I've got the transmitter on bind, And I'm going to quickly put a battery in it and then try to get the bind button pressed and all that shenanigans. Have to do that from this side. All right. All right, I just pressed the bind button. It's flashing.
Binding. DFMX. 22 milliseconds. Telemetry. Bind complete.
All right. I'm gonna unplug it. Turn the transmitter off. Make sure all the receiver wires are still plugged in and everything's golden. And they are. Make sure I'm not smashing any wires. And then we'll plug it back up and see what it does. I didn't download the model. I just created a new model with one aileron, one flap. No dual rates or anything are set up at this time. There's that. Transmitter's on. All right, so I've created a whole nother model with safe select on the gear switch like it's supposed to be. I still have the motor reversing. Now, hopefully, when I deploy the flaps, the self-leveling will work. So safe select is on right now. The elevator's level. It looks like it's gonna do its job now. We'll see. We'll know the next time we go night flying. Now that's another issue right there. Did you see the elevator? The flaps are on a 2-second delay, right? Watch this elevator here. Did you see it move 2 seconds later? It doesn't do that on my Beaver. Watch the elevator. Does everybody's plane do that? Did you guys see that? Let me make sure you guys can see that again. Let me make sure. Let me get you guys a good view. Watch the elevator. Full flaps. You see that? I'm not doing that. Here's the transmitter. Flaps up. Interesting. One more time. Watch the elevator. That could be another part of my self-leveling issue when the flaps are deployed. Hey, that's all I got for this one, guys. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday fun day coming up tomorrow. See you next time, guys. If you want to win a jet like this, all you have to do is subscribe. Click the like button and leave a comment. And then ring the bell so you don't miss my next video. At 1,000 subscribers, we gave this jet away. At 5,000, we're going to give another one. I don't know what it is yet. We'll see when that time comes. So hey, subscribe, guys. Happy flying.